Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about lifting the curse on yourself, on your life, on your family, wherever the curses are. We're going to lift them today. That's what we're talking about. So thanks for joining us. This is the channel where we help you hack through the jungles of consciousness and discover the hidden treasures inside of you. My friends, it's all there ready and waiting to be activated. And curse lifting is one of those things you can do right now, here and now, with this one kind of simple hack I'm going to give to you. So I feel like these little cognitive habits that we all have, nobody really talks about, and I wanted to talk about in this video today, lifting curses. What do I mean by that? Well, curses come from our interpretation of something, how we interpret, right? We are meaning-making machines. You know, everything that happens in our lives is data, and we put meaning and interpretation on that data, right? We take that data and we spin a story, we spin a narrative. And so when it comes to curses in our life, this is something that the source is our interpretation. And so if we want to fix it, if we want to lift the curse, we go back to our capacity to interpret, right? And part of that is bringing consciousness to it, being aware that we're doing it, and then intentionally choosing differently. It's really that simple, because really there is no reality outside of our experience. We are subjectively creating everything that we have in our lives. We know this from past videos. And so when we start to become aware of these, this is a more advanced skill of really refining our life experience. So if you're like me, you've been on this reality creation journey for a while, or if you're new to it, this is something that we can start to do right away. We can do it today, and it's kind of fun because it turns out that often these curses are of our own creation. We keep them alive. We can keep them alive for decades, even generations, as in my story. So I wanted to share a quick illustration of this. In our family, we have this joke about the ward curse, right? That we somehow get slighted as a family. And, you know, it's kind of a fun, it's satirical. It's meant to be funny, but also in like a sad, like, oh, like we got the word curse rises again. And it's funny because I see this, you know, I've just in this week, I've caught in my conversations with others, 3 or 4 other instances where other people do this too. Maybe not with, you know, in relation to their family, but just in relation to their own life, right? They were talking about a curse. Like this always happens to me. Or I never get the job, or I never feel like I have enough, or, you know, some story. Look for the words always or never, which are key words of the curse. Those are the curse words. And this whole subject has been very prevalent for me this week, and I got a direct example and taste of doing it myself. How we curse ourselves, we damn ourselves in imagination, and then play out that reality. So, as you can see, I'm not in my usual location. I did travel last week, and so when I was on the plane, I splurged to get a nice seat at the front of the plane. Like, I spent extra money. As you know, a lot of the airlines now, you know, if you buy a seat at the front, you have to pay extra cash. And so I did that. I splurged. I was in row 3 in the window seat. And as everyone's getting on the plane, you know, I got on the plane, and I was immediately, as soon as I walk in, there was a couple already seated in the aisle and middle seats of my row. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And the gentleman was a large man. He was tall, he was big, he had long limbs, and he was in the middle seat next to me. And, you know, as soon as I sat in my seat, I sat there and stewed. I was like, you know, I paid extra for the seat so I could be comfortable, so that I could have extra space. who buys a middle seat in the third row? Like, who actually spends money for that? And so, I'm sitting there just spinning this narrative and stewing, and I could tell, I could feel that I had a scowl on my face, and I was very unhappy. And we sat a long time on the tarmac. So I had about 40 minutes to think about this while we sat on the tarmac. And I look back, and the rest of the plane, it was a kind of, a medium full flight. So none of the other middle seats on the plane were taken. I looked back and saw this clear shot down the middle seats right behind me. And the same thing on the other side of the plane. And I thought, what are the chances that I picked a row where there's 3 people sitting? And I could feel myself going into the curse. I could feel myself framing things like, I never get what I could feel that narrative coming up. I could feel it's a habit, right? The curse is a habit that we have of telling a certain story that we get shafted, jilted, we can't do this, we never get this, this always happens to us, right? That's the language commonly around the curse. And so what did I do in that moment? I was like, you know what? I could sit here and believe in the curse, the word curse, because I started to feel that not only about my own life, because I feel a little bit of that in my own life. Like, I had taken that kind of joke about the word curse and applied it to my own life, of feeling sometimes like I am the one that got the short end of the stick on things. And so what I did was I was like, I could sit here and stew in this for my 3-hour flight, or I could look for the opportunity. And I was thinking, this isn't a full flight. There's plenty of open seats, and the 2 rows in front of us were completely open, like on both sides. They were completely open. And I had enough time in that 40 minutes to sit and observe the flight attendants, what their kind of culture was. Because you can tell with flight attendants whether they're rule keepers or whether they are like the party crew, where they don't really care. They're just there to do their job at the most minimal level. And I could tell this was a party crew. And so I was like, I'm just going to move. I am going to literally move into a first class seat. And the 2 rows in front of me were totally open. And so I did. I just was like, this isn't going to be a problem. I'm just going to go up and move. So after the plane had taken off and the seatbelt sign went off, I moved. I decided, I was like, I'm not buying into the curse. I'm not buying into my short luck. And I am just going to move into this row in front of me. There's not going to be a problem. And I did. That's exactly what I did. So I had a nice first class seat all the way to my hometown. And I didn't have to pay extra for it, which is the beautiful irony of this. So you could see how literally in that moment I made a choice. It was literally 2 paths, and I was like, I'm not gonna choose the cursed path. I'm not gonna choose the victim path. I'm gonna choose the winner path. I'm gonna choose the opportunistic path, right? So how does this relate to you? Let's bring it back full circle. Find in your life, think about in your life, catch yourself in your life where you put curses on yourself, where you revert back to some old tired story and you start, a situation comes up that you can apply that interpretation to, and you start kicking the can down the road. In that moment, choose differently. Choose to be a different character. Choose to be the person who says, you know what, I'm going to get up and move. I'm going to get up and move and turn this into a golden opportunity. Move. Change seats. That's all you have to do. There's always in every situation that happens an opportunity for learning, for growth, for, in my situation, to get a better seat and not have to sit next to anyone. I just did it. I just went for it. I didn't ask, didn't apologize. I just got up and moved. And it turned out like I was the first one off the plane. I have never been the first one off the plane. So from that situation where I was just like, I am the generator of my interpretations. You can be this too. Lift the curse. even if it's a generational curse, right? This joke about my family. Like when I look, we really are a lucky family. We have really good luck. Like things, this may have been true for us in the past, but I'm changing the narrative on that. Because the things that we perpetuate, they do influence us. Like the things that we practice repetition with, they do influence us. And so they become habitual. So where are you damning yourself with your narratives? Where are you damning yourself with your interpretation of things? Move. That's the only thing you got to do. And even better than moving, that will not only change the way you feel immediately, but potentially also change the outcomes. It immediately changes the outcomes because you're not being the version of you who's telling the old story, subscribing to the curse, feeling victimized, suffering it out, whatever you normally do in that situation. You're automatically shifting into a different version of yourself, and you're going to experience different outcomes, guaranteed. So lift the curses on yourself. This is just a little reminder to stay aware and that you don't have to go into that old story. I know it's a very worn pathway in our brain, it's an easy story to slip into in our narratives, but you are pure potential at every moment. The situation is pure potential. The situation can shift. The situation can suddenly get better. That person, we also curse the people around us, right? We tell stories about how they are. Lift the curse on them as well. You can easily stay open to the potential of someone changing. People do change. I've seen a lot of people in my life change for the good and for the bad. And so be open to them changing literally any moment, any instant, any situation, even if it looks and feels like the same old stuff. And you want to bring that curse up and reaffirm it and say, this is always how it happens. Give it a chance to be different, because really it's all coming from our interpretation. We are damning ourselves in essence. So lift the curses in your life. Lift the curses in your life. Change the story and see what happens. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below I'm happy to engage with you. If you do need a little bit of extra support in changing some of your cognitive habits, I have a free tool in the description box that is always available to you. Check that out as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.